Welcome to Chapter 2 of the jf010e Jatco CVT transmission. In this chapter you'll learn about draining, refilling, and checking the fluid level procedures, as well as the capacity, fluid specifications, and related procedures. My name is Jared Warren. I will be your host for this course. It's a great day to fix transmissions, so let's get started. Recommended service intervals, roughly every 15,000 miles or 12 months, whichever comes first. We want you to inspect the transmission fluid level and the condition of the fluid. ATRA is recommending every 30,000 miles or every 24 months to flush or replace the transmission fluid. Manufacturers suggest severe driving, 60,000 miles or 48 months to change the transmission fluid. So we are recommending to change the fluid quite often compared to what the manufacturers are suggesting. But this is going to add life to this transmission by keeping clean transmission fluid in it. Some of the precautions and common mistakes that we're seeing with this Jatco jf010e transmission and some other CVTs as well is the wrong transmission fluid being added. This transmission takes the Nissan CVT NS2 fluid, so make sure you use this correct Nissan fluid, CVT fluid, for your transmission. I would not recommend any other fluid. So servicing for flushing and cooler line check. So the top line is your return line and the bottom line is your cooler outline. So when we're doing a fluid exchange, it's now always nice to know which line's which. So the top line is the return line. Do not use any additives, cleaners, or any of that kind of stuff to mix with this transmission fluid on the CVT. Only use straight CVT fluid, the NS2 fluid only. Some models have an engine coolant bypass, but it has no issues flushing the transmissions. So basically what they're doing is they're not allowing engine coolant to flow through the transmission cooler to let the transmission warm up quicker. But again, this has no effect on transmission flushing. Locations of the fill, inspection, and drain plugs. So where the arrow there is on your right, they'll have a dipstick tube sticking out of there, like a normal automatic transmission. They're still nice enough to us to have a dipstick and dipstick tube. To get the dipstick out, you'll want to take a small screwdriver and push in on the little locking tab and go ahead and remove the dipstick. Of course, you want to keep the dipstick clean, wipe it free, and make sure it's all the way latched when you are checking the fluid. Transmission temperature needs to be about 122 to 176 degrees Fahrenheit, which is equivalent to 50 to 80 degrees Celsius. On the all-wheel drive models, you have your transfer case. There's a drain plug on the bottom. There's also a fill and oil check plug slightly up on the side. The oil level for the transfer case is level with the bottom of the drain plug hole, or the oil level hole. It's like a standard transmission. Just want to keep it to the bottom of the threads there. This is ADW90, and it takes roughly 0.625 quarts or 3 liters of fluid. I'll keep repeating this throughout this course. Nissan NS2 fluid only. We use about 10.6 to refill this transmission after overhaul. And then the ADW90 for the transfer case. We want to check the fluid level while it's in park with the engine running. Transmission temperature 122 to 176 degrees. NS2 fluid only. Again, the transfer case is 90 weight. And dry fill on the transmission again is 10.6 quarts, and then the Drain and fill is roughly 5 quarts, usually about 4 1/4 or so to 5 quarts. And then the transfer case dry fill is 0.625 quarts. So when we're actually performing the service, we want to go ahead and remove the drain plug on the bottom of the transmission and let the transmission fluid drain out. Some of these have a steel pan also. This one is an aluminum pan. It's the B model, the jf010e. This one was in a Murano, but a lot of them have the steel pan also. After the oil's drained out, go ahead and retorque the drain plug to 30 foot-pounds. Then you'll want to go ahead and remove the 20 10mm headed pan bolts. For the aluminum pan, they're roughly about 46 millimeters long. For the steel pans, they're roughly about 10 millimeters long. After we get your pan off, you have a filter / screen on there. You want to go ahead and remove the filter bolts. Note there is one bolt that is shorter than the other, which is labeled here on the picture as A. It's a 30 millimeter bolt, and the rest are all 69 millimeter bolts. When you put your new filter back on, you'll want to torque it down to 90 inch-pounds. Of course, you'll want to put a new pan gasket on it, clean the magnets, and then go ahead and torque the pan down to 90 inch-pounds. Add roughly 4 quarts of fluid, the NS2 CVT oil. Check to make sure it's reading on the stick. Go ahead and start the transmission up. And on your scan tool, you want to watch the fluid temperature. You want the trans temperature between 122 and 176 degrees. When it is at temperature, you'll want it right in between the min and the max on your dipstick. This fluid is sensitive to temperature, so if you, let's say, fill this up and it's only 90 degrees or something along those lines, it's going to expand at different rates and fairly quick. So that's why they're giving us a short temperature window, is because they know the fluid expansion and how much it's going to expand. So that's why they want it within that 50 degrees roughly, to make sure the fluid level is correct at all temperatures. This will conclude our chapter on servicing of the jf010e Jatco CVT transmissions. We want to thank you for participating in our virtual training solutions powered by ATRA. Till next time, let's keep fixing transmissions together.